Please rewind this cassette.
Let's talk about the newly released trailer for Stranger Things 3. Not Stranger Things Season 3, but Stranger Things 3, because the Duffer Bros like to title this show like it's an 80s movie sequel, so it would be 2 or 3 before every movie was Resurrection or Returns or Infinity bullshit, whatever. You know, Stranger Things it's very odd where we're at with this show because the first season came out of nowhere. You know, it wasn't something that was really hyped up. I mean, this was what, 2 or 3 years ago now, I guess. When was that, like 2016 that Stranger Things came out? What was so wonderful about it, I think, was the fact that there wasn't the hype, that we didn't all, go immediately out to watch it or talk about it. It was just kind of this slow burn thing. Like, they put it on Netflix, the trailer was really good, but it didn't have the hype of, let's say, like a Super 8, and I think Super 8 ended up disappointing a lot of people. Stranger Things, on the other hand, who knew who the Duffer Brothers were? I didn't fucking know the Duffer Brothers. The cast, for the most part, outside of a few actors like Winona Ryder, weren't very well known, especially the kid actors. So, in a way, we got to discover these characters and these actors at the same time. It was the first time to see these characters. It was also the first time to see the people performing them show off what they can do, which is just kind of this wonderful thing that doesn't happen very often. We're getting introduced to some new talent. And that makes you addicted in a way to the show because you want to see more of it. The Duffer's genius with Stranger Things, at least in the initial run of the show, I don't think was necessarily what they get praised for a lot, and that's their ability to mix all these different genres and tones together. The fact that they can do a little Spielberg, they can do a little John Carpenter, they can do a little Joe Dante. They can reference comic books and Star Wars and all sorts of things. I think what it was, essentially, is that they found a way to go back to shows that we don't really get much anymore, like The Wonder Years, or something like My So-Called Life, or Freaks and Geeks. It was just really enjoyable to watch a group of kids hang out and be friends. And I can't remember a show for a while that didn't capture that as well, to really see these kids hang out and have great chemistry. It was sort of like the Stephen King movie we'd been wanting for a long time, at least I think a lot of us, since we were fans of Stand By Me. A lot of people compared it to The Goonies. I think it's only kind of like The Goonies. I think the kids having agency and figuring things out together is very Goonies-like. But yeah, I just think it was the Duffers capturing the camaraderie, innocence, and I don't know, looseness, the forward thinking of kids. But in general, it just had great acting, great characterization, really memorable special effects and sequences, horror sequences, fantasy sequences. That first season really was a thrill ride. It was really great seeing something turn into a cultural phenomenon that, like, oh wow, Netflix now has their Game of Thrones. They now have their Walking Dead. Where I don't think they really had that before. I think they thought House of Cards and Orange is the New Black was going to be that show that really broke out, and those shows did become popular. But I don't think anything's compared to Stranger Things, especially when you think about the merchandising. Then we had Season 2, which I have a review for. I think a lot of people were disappointed in Season 2. I know I was. I'm mixed on it. There's a lot of good things. Steve Harrington and Dustin being together, but a lot of that did feel like fan service. As I said in my review, the first season was nostalgia for a different time and a different kind of movie. The second season felt like it was nostalgic for the first season. To me, it was a lot of... People were saying, oh, it's not just winking at you and referencing the first season. I thought the entire second season was built up of that. I've rewatched it a few times, and it's grown on me a little bit. But I still think that, was it episode 7, the episode where 11 goes, and there's that fucking X-Men scene that's straight up out of X-Men First Class. With number 9 and all that. All that stuff was just so disappointing, unfortunately, because the pace of the season was overall working, and I do think the final 2 episodes are pretty decent. The finale of the whole thing works well enough, but there was just things left loose that I didn't like. What the fuck is going on with Billy? Some of the other kids getting underdeveloped and overlooked. A lot of the stuff that was so cool about the first season, like the drawings or the names the kids gave things based off their nerdom, their geekdom. The way the D&D campaign was reflecting the main storyline. A lot of that stuff just didn't work as well in the second season, and that was a lot of the stuff that made the first season so awesome. And the surprise was gone. We went in knowing that we loved Steve Harrington, that we loved Dustin, that we loved, Sheriff Harbor, that we, that I guess we love Winona Ryder. I like the stuff with the lights. That was a little Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters, but sometimes Winona Ryder's performance gets on me a little bit. Where's Will? Will, God damn it, Hopper. Where's Will? Still, Stranger Things Season 2 wasn't bad. It felt like the first season felt like this mini-series, this self-contained thing that was emotional and scary. And honestly, to me, I just prefer it to the It movie that came out that became a big hit. And a lot of it feels like the Duffers just kind of got the drop on the people who made it, because I think Cary Fukunaga probably had a similar idea a few years before they did. Season 2, though, felt like a TV show. It really felt like a show for the first time and not that experience that the first one was with the binge and Netflix. It really felt like, wow, the pacing of this, the way this is happening, feels so unique to Netflix. And I didn't really get that with Season 2. Season 2, I felt like I was watching, a show on FX or AMC or something like that, and it was in its sophomore slump. But I said at the end of that season, what I really liked was that dance scene. Spoilers, but there's the scene where they all go to the dance. Dustin's crying, he's dancing with Nancy, and she says, "You're my favorite," which I took as the Duffer saying to the actor, "You're my favorite." Even though Stranger Things Season 2 was still very popular, I do think it just didn't have that hype. So my hope was, the Duffers, this dance sequence, this is good. This is really good. And my hope is that in the future seasons, they back off from some of the upside-down supernatural elements, because I don't think they have a lot of material for that. Whereas the stuff with the kids hanging out, growing up, maturing, feeling feelings that they've never felt before for the first time, I think they're capturing rather well. And I was hoping that in Season 3 they would kind of go away so much from the stuff that really was the hook of Stranger Things and focus on the things that they're really good at. Now with the Season 3 trailer, for most of it, I was so excited because it looked like that's exactly what they were doing. They changed genres up a bit. They're referencing different movies. There's a lot of Fast Times at Ridgemont High in this, especially with Steve Harrington and where he works. So I was very excited, but then the Duffers couldn't help themselves. As I've often said, I picture the Duffer brothers sitting across from each other at a table, and they're pitching ideas back and forth. And then when they get an idea they both love, they start to bounce their hands up and down and back and forth between each other and go, "Duffer, Duffer, 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 Duffer." The Duffer Bros indeed. Sean Astin, Duffer, 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 Duffer. Gremlins, Duffer, Duffer, Duffer. But let's look at this trailer. I don't think this is a bad trailer. I don't think it's as awesome as Season 2's trailer was. But here's the thing. That Season 2 trailer with the Thriller, using Thriller and showing the Ghostbuster stuff, that had me so fucking hyped. And I ended up being really disappointed in all sorts of things. The new characters especially. So hopefully the fact that I don't love this trailer means that maybe the season will be a bounce back. Because we've seen this before. I remember the show Friday Night Lights in its second season taking a huge drop in quality, and then Season 3 and 4 and 5 even were all great. The Sopranos, a lot of people are mixed on the second season. Shows have a hard time. That second season's really tough. The Wire, the second season, people are mixed on that. Some people think it's amazing. Other people think it's the weak spot in the overall greatness that is The Wire. But let me quit, doing a preface. Let's just talk about the trailer. I love the idea of that Dustin went to summer camp. I've often wanted them to tap into like the Friday 13th genre. I would love to see the kids go to summer camp. It's very nice that he has a pet turtle. It goes back to his relationship with the creature in Season 2, that he's still holding on to that. See, this had me worried early on, all of the figures moving. I love the little R2, though. This had me worried that the Duffers were immediately going back to, what's the new mystery? What's happening in this town? This is our Twin Peaks. Although it's not nearly as good as Twin Peaks, or this is our X-Files. But then this is really clever and made me very happy. You find out that it's just the kids fucking with Dustin. This isn't actually a new supernatural thing. Now, this is a great idea. I really like this idea. It shows the kids growing up. They're a bit more, they got that nastiness that teenagers have. Seeing the actors actually, hitting puberty and getting a little older is very appealing. But the fact that they're just fucking with their friend once he came back, from camp. I just think that's a great idea. And it made me really excited, like, oh, maybe this is what more of Season 3 is going to be. I hope this is the majority of Season 3. Because once again, I don't want to hype myself up for this stuff. Like, I remember thinking the Dragon's Lair stuff early on. I thought that meant that, like, Steve Harrington was going to become, like, the knight, and his bat would be, like, the sword, and he would fight the dragon. I thought they were trying to make a D&D connection to that game that Don Bluth did the animation for, but they didn't really do anything with it, you know? So I don't want to hype myself up with this season thinking, like, well, what does this all mean? How does this all connect? This is a little slapsticky. I don't totally like the tone of that, but maybe they're leaning on the comedy with this season. Maybe this is just more of a 80s comedy. I don't have audio on this right now because I don't want to get a copyright claim, but this is really on the nose. They play Teenage Wasteland and they have that line, out here in the field. Well, Bob O'Reilly's the name of the song, but out here in the fields while they're walking in a field. Come on. Subtlety. Duffer, duffer, duffer. So far, though, the show still looks good visually. Very nice cinematography, great production design. Nice, nice camera work in general. The costume design, always a very well-produced show. You see where the money goes. Here's Billy, the character I think is a repressed homosexual, based off Season 2. I think he wants to hook up with Steve Harrington. Here we are with Hopper and Will. Especially seeing this kid older. Holy crap, the kid from It, like, frog face. He really is, like, he does, I mean, like, out of all of them, he's the one I think has the biggest change. We're like, shit, man, you don't look like a kid anymore. This is weird. But I like this. Yeah, 11 in a bed, listening to music. Dustin being sad. That scene where he's crying at the dance at the end, that's so emotional. You really feel bad for him. I don't like this so much. I don't like that he's looking at a photo of them in the Ghostbusters costume crying. My hope is that he's more crying about what he went through during that time and not so much that he misses this. It just makes this character a little too effeminate for my taste. It's not that I have a problem with that kind of thing. It's just, Will's not one of my favorite parts of the show, I gotta say. I kind of wish they would have killed Will. I feel like it would add a lot to this show. Now, this is amazing. Steve Harrington is now Brad Hamilton from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He works at, like, a store in the mall, I'm assuming. But what a great idea. I'm assuming he's out of high school at this point, or it's the summer right before he's going off to college. The first season, that was, that took place during, like, one season of the year, and then, then they go into the fall, and it's a Halloween show. Now they're doing, this is the summer season of Stranger Things. This is the summer movie, which is a really, I think, an organic place for it to go. But yes, as you see Steve and Dustin having a lightsaber duel, that's just very charming. That stuff's I'm always gonna like that stuff. I don't know what this is all about. They're having a debate about the mayor, what's going on. I'm not sure about. It seems like we're leaving the facility a little bit. There's a hitman that looks like a shot from the movie The Guest. I'm not sure what this is about. Once again, though, terrific actors. One summer can change everything. Here we go with some of the upside down stuff. I don't know if these are just visions that Eleven is having, dreams she's having, or she can't fully escape it. I'm not quite sure. And yeah, this is the problem. I start to get worried here. What the fuck is this stuff? I know it sounds weird because the show's built around it, but I kind of wish the Duffers would lean less on the upside down in the mythology. I don't like that at all. That looks like Zack Snyder stuff to me. I do not like the special effects in that shot or that shot. I love some of this other stuff, but yeah, this I'm not a fan of. This is fun. What happened here? Clearly there was some attack at the mall, or 11 did something. Everybody's there together. Great wardrobe though, but yeah, our nose is bleeding. There's Steve Harrington with, like, looks like he just got his ass kicked. Not quite sure. This is where we go full Duffer. We're about to go full Duffer. You get that montage. The editing's kind of like that sequence with Eleven's mother that uses Philip Glass music, I believe. I think it uses music from Kinda Scotsy. And it's actually a pretty terrifically edited sequence, where she's seeing all the memories through her mother and stuff like that to find out what happened to her. It's actually a pretty great sequence. The editing's sort of like that. They do a mix of the, they start arranging Teenage Wasteland a little bit faster. I keep calling the song the wrong title. But yeah, all this, the horror stuff. There's a shot with Steve Harrington where he's, like, screaming. And he looks very hurt right there. Shit. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. These images are so quick. Yeah, well, damn it, come on. Oh my god. This pause game, I got no pause game. Well, you basically saw it there a few times, but I don't know what's going on with Steve Harrington. Is he getting attacked? Killing him would definitely be one of the things to make this really emotional. I think he's a fan favorite in a lot of ways. And I think you have to kill people this season, and you can't just kill a supporting character that you introduce this season like you did with Sean Astin with Bob, you motherfuckers. What a fucking horrible idea to kill him off. You gotta kill off a main character by this point. And I think the Duffers said they only want this to be 3 or 4 seasons, and Netflix doesn't like to drag their shows out. But here we go. This is that moment. You're like, Duffer, 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 Duffer. It's a monster. They can't help themselves. But this shit, this is just great. More of this. More of this, please. His face here. That's great. More of this. This is good. Less of this. Less of this. Even though that creature design's a little bit cooler than what we've seen in the last couple seasons, I think. I think the creature design's actually one of the biggest flaws of the show. The designs just aren't that original or very... They look a little too close to the stuff J.J. Abrams does and stuff like Cloverfield or Super 8. For my taste. Is this supposed to be Terminator-esque reference? Is this guy coming here to kill the monsters? A lot to think about here. Are they going to bring back the other kids from the experiments? Is there going to be, 6 and 5? Is there going to be a 12? Is there a 13? Are they going to lean on some of that Akira, Carrie stuff a little bit more? But overall, I like the trailer. It doesn't have the excitement around it of Season 2. Season 2 felt huge and epic in that trailer. This feels a lot smaller, just from this trailer. I'm not saying the season will be. This feels a lot smaller, more intimate, more comedic. I don't know what kind of show it's trying to morph into totally, because I haven't seen it yet, obviously. But this is a good sign. I think this looks good. I think it looks very entertaining. The show's always been entertaining. I think they learned from their mistakes. I don't think they're going to have 11 go off on some separate little adventure and have an episode that feels completely out of place with the rest of the show and kills the pace of that season. I think this is going to be a lot tighter. I think the Duffers hopefully took the criticisms of Season 2 to heart. And it's not that I even blame them. I think they put most of their material in the first season. I don't think they planned for this to be a show that would span for years, because how would they know it was going to be a success? So now they're at a point where it's like, well, shit, now we have to keep... I could be doing a breakdown or theories like all these other channels, but I think that stuff's kind of just a waste of time. Overall, my impression is, though, it looks like a fun Season 3. I hope it's better than 2. I don't think we'll ever get back to the magic of 1, just because of the surprise. It was a little serendipitous how it all happened. But that doesn't mean that, sometimes you have a disappointing sequel to original film. A lot of people feel that way about, like, let's say Temple of Doom, but then you can come back with The Last Crusade. So maybe if Season 2 is a slight dip in quality, because I don't think Season 2 is bad, hopefully Season 3 will come back and be that really solid third film in a series that really reminds us why we like this universe so much. And I'm not getting... The horror elements don't come across in this trailer very well, though. That's the odd thing to me. The supernatural horror elements don't come across very well tonally. The tone I'm getting is much more of, like... It's odd to say, but like Porky's or Caddyshack. Something like that. I'm getting Caddyshack vibes. That's the kind of tone, but maybe that was the right way to go. Maybe it makes sense at this point to make it a little bit funny. And because the show is always funny, but maybe it's a good idea to lean on that. And I hope the Duffers can bounce back and kick our asses again. And I don't know if this will be the final season. I think Season 4 is going to be the final season. And I would like that. I would like to see the kids really be older at that point. Maybe, I know it's going to sound a little odd because we saw them when they're young, but maybe 11 or one of them has their first sexual experience at like 16, 17. You could really go to those places. And it's one of the things that was amazing about the Wonder Years, was that you got to see Kevin Arnold grow up. And yeah, as Fred Savage got older, the character was less compelling as he was as a kid, but you still got to go on that journey with him, and then it reminded you of when you grew up. So maybe this show in a lot of ways is about growing apart, but also learning how to grow together. And hopefully we can, as a fan base, not grow apart, and we can grow together with this season. And hopefully this show won't be one of those shows that was a one-hit wonder with this first season, and then we just get diminishing returns every season after that. That could be that's a really scary thought. That happens with a lot of shows, where so many, because it takes years to come up with ideas, to come up with material. It's not like the Duffers wrote all of that stuff in a week. I'm sure they thought about it for a long time. But now they have deadlines. Now they have to have a show out every year or so. I think about Game of Thrones when they had the books and how they were able to pull so much material from that, and they didn't have as much special effects back then, so they were really able to focus on characterization and dialogue, and now you feel like time is against the producers and the writers. But yeah, what do you guys think in the comment section? Let me know. Did you like Stranger Things too? Are you more positive about it than I am? Did you like Max and Billy? Because I hated them. And are you excited for this? What do you think about this trailer? It's already got 20 million views, so the hype is still there. Stranger Things has arrived. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, unless this season is terrible. Then I think that could actually affect the impact of the show. But as long as it's good, like if this is like a 7 out of 10 season, like this doesn't have to be an 8 or a 9. If this is like a 7, I still think they're in a pretty good spot. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and please rewind your VHS tapes before you bring them back to the store.